people. Thanks.
Okay. Let me get the headphones on. Could you, while we're rolling here, would you say your name and spell it, please?
Suzanne Thomasmeyer, Suzanne-Thomasmeyer.
Have a typical day here.
Typical day here. We always get to school at about like 8:15.
Tell you what,
Close that door.
Stop you for a second. Why don't you go? No, thank you. Let me do something here real quick. Go ahead and say something real quick.
La 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 la.
Okay, go ahead and just start with that last one.
Alright, could you please describe a typical day here?
We get to school at about 8:15, and the kids start coming in. And we all hang out outside, which is a lot of fun, instead of like going in the classrooms, and they run everywhere, all around the school. So they get all their exercise out, they get all their candy and their breakfast. A lot of them eat breakfast here at the snack stand. They have class from, my students, standard 5, their classes are different than the younger kids. They have class from 8:30 to 10, math, language arts. Then they have a half-hour break, and then they have math class from 10:30 to 12, and then lunch for an hour. And that's when most of the kids go home and go to lunch. Their parents can pick them up. And some of them stay here. And then we have 3 classes at the end of the day. So,
Suzanne, if you could please describe a typical day here.
the students come in. Teachers get here at 8:15 when we get here. Students come in, they run around all over the place, which is good. They get out their exercise. They also eat their breakfast, which consists of a lot of candy, and the flapjacks, which are delicious. Fried jacks were really good. And then we go to class from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. My standard 5 kids have language arts. Then we have another half-hour break. And then from 10:30 to 12 o'clock, we have math class. And then they have their lunch break, which is an hour. And then from 1 to 1:45, we have either computers or social studies, depending on the day. And 1:45 to 2:30, we have science. 2:30 to 2:45, we have a break. 2:45 to 3:30, we have either Spanish, art, or PE. And then Fridays, we got early, which is fun. And that's the schedule written on paper, but not necessarily the schedule we go by every day. The time fluctuates a lot, so you learn to go with the flow. That's our schedule.
What were your perceptions of the Belizean education system, and how have they changed over the short time you've been here?
What were they before I came down here? I didn't think about it too much. I don't know. I didn't think about it much at all. I think I was probably picturing just kind of everyone sitting on the desk just writing the whole time. But in my class, they don't do that at all. You know, they sit in their desk and they write some. But in my class, they do a lot of group work. They do a lot of student-centered activities, like my lesson we filmed today. They do a lot of traveling around. My teacher's great. And so there's definitely, not a lot of just sitting down and writing for the most part. And also the behavior management is I wasn't expecting that. I think I was expecting like much more rigid and much more raise your hand to speak, like don't speak unless spoken to type. I don't know why, that's just, I don't know. But it's a lot different than I expected in that aspect too.
How do you adapt your lesson plan to meet the diverse learning needs of the students in your classroom?
I only have 11 students in my classroom, so it's a lot simpler doing this here than back in the States, because I had like 25 to 29 students. None of them, one was actually tested, so they did test my one student, a learning disability, but he came out, he didn't have one. The other one, they're trying to get tested. So for those 2, we just cut back on the work a little bit for them. Like we'll give them the same stuff, but like for vocab, instead of giving them all 30 words, we just tell them to do the first 22, something like that. So we just cut back the work a little bit to make it easier for them, and we help them. I stayed after and I've tutored a little bit since I've been here, which is great to work with kids and help them out. So.
What challenges are you meeting?
The biggest one is definitely behavior management, but that's nothing new because that was always my struggle.
Would you say your biggest challenge?
What?
Would you say your biggest challenge is the
Yeah, yeah.
In your answer, would you
In my,
I'm going to be cut out of here, so for editing purposes.
my biggest challenge,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say my biggest challenge is behavior management, but that's nothing new, just because that's what I struggle with in general. Some people seem very authoritative, you know, they say something and you turn, you do it right away, but they don't know. I haven't gotten quite that far yet. And so that's big. I think both because I'm still working on it as just, you know, a young person, new teacher, and also because their expectations here are a lot different than those back in the States, and it's just, in general, the behavior management here is a lot different than what we experience back in the States. So that's the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
And another challenge,
Hold on, just wait.
okay.
What are you going to take away from this experience?
I am going to take away,
Hold on.
yeah, they are, yeah. The standard 6 kids aren't going home yet. They have to stay longer because their big test is on Monday, like their big epic test to get into high school or pass or something. Yeah.
What are you going to take away from this experience?
I'm going to take away the biggest thing, just teaching in general, is my teacher teaches a lot about morals and values and responsibilities, I guess, but just a lot of like morals and values and character traits, really. And I think that's great. Like she throws that into reading.
You keep talking.
Okay, and she.
Okay, hang on. Just
okay.
do that again. Hang on. I'm going to pause.
So Suzanne, what are you going to take back from this trip?
From this trip, a lot, so much. Teaching-wise, though, if we're just talking about in the schools.
Start that again, please. This is just.
Okay,
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Okay.
What are you going to take away from this trip?
I'm gonna take away a whole lot. Teaching-wise, though, I'll take away my teacher. Teaches a lot about morals and values and character traits, and she just incorporates it in with everything, with reading, with language arts, she's probably incorporated with math, with social studies, with science, and I just love how she teaches more than just numbers and more than just knowledge. She teaches how to be respectful, I guess, and just things you need to know in life. She teaches, I don't know, values really is the biggest thing, and I think that's really important. So I love how she teaches that.
Why would you recommend this opportunity, this study abroad, to the other students?
I would say study abroad in general, it is just right here, specifically San Pedro.
Students who come back
Yeah.
here from the education department.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
I would absolutely do it because you learn a lot. As far as teaching, you're going to learn behavior management skills, and you're going to get to try out new ones. Like I got to implement a personal behavior management plan for one specific student, which I've never gotten to actually plan one out and really do one before, like a specific one. So I just started it, so we'll see how it turns out. But it's a lot of trial and error, and I'm going to learn a lot about that. You also learn a lot about being flexible and going with the flow, because sometimes the teachers are busy doing something else, and there's just a lot of distractions, and so you have to roll with the distractions and roll with, being up in front of the class with no lesson plans, nothing. And just be flexible with timing and everything. So you'll learn a lot about being flexible, which is going to be, definitely come in handy with the class.
Mm-hmm. And did I leave any questions out on this time?
I don't think so.
Let's see.
Differentiated learners, what are you going to take away? Talk about the lesson today, do we do that one?
Yeah, if you would point with that chart that you unveiled one by one by one.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
that's,
was really cool.
Ask.
yeah.
How you adapt. I'm
Well,
going to
ask.
Okay.
Ask. To sort of evaluate today's lesson, but explain what you did. Explain what you did a little bit today.
Okay.
Just summarize
Okay.
it, and then say, sort of critique yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So basically my lesson today, it was my teacher's idea. She really wanted me to do this lesson. So I was like, absolutely, because it's a fun lesson. And so what I did for planning was I had to come up with my own thing. And I made this chart basically. So basically what it is it's an action plan. And we're breaking the kids up into different groups where we make them go out, pick an area in the environment around here, and clean it up. To create a safe and healthy environment for their environmental science class. And so I made a chart. They're going to have to, take steps, make goals, action plans, or what they need to get, and this and that. And so I had to make an example, which would have been wonderful. I remember when we had the active board, just making it on the flip chart and pulling up the blind thing and strolling it down. Because if you just show them everything at once, they just read that and they completely tune everything else out. And so I had to come up with how I could, stick it up on the board and not have to turn my back and write on the whiteboard, because I felt like that would just be a bad idea, because it is. And so I figured I'd make it on an actual chart. I rewrote it out, and I stuck a piece of paper just up there, and I just stuck it up there with ticky tack, and so that I could stroll down through the things as we hit them. And I think it went pretty well afterwards. I got to let the kids talk. I let them pick their own teams, which caused a little bit of drama. But I probably would let them do it in the future, because this is all student-centered activity. It's all theirs. So I think I would still, it caused a little bit of drama, but I think I would still let them do that. Just to let them learn to work together, to make them want to do this more. And a lot of the kids, 2 of the groups jumped right in there, were really excited about it. One of the group we struggled with a little bit, but, we got them calmed down and talked it out. And so overall, I think it went pretty well. The one thing I definitely needed to do that I didn't do was wrap it up and have a closing. But our one little group, we had a little mini meltdown, so I didn't get to do that. But yeah, I would definitely have a closing and would have wrapped it up more. But other than that, I think it went well. I think they understood what they had to do, and so.
What's the one thing you miss the most out of all your supplies back home?
Ooh, a printer. I wish I could just print something out. A printer and a copier. Can I pick 2? A printer. It would just be a printer, because I can print out as many copies as I would want. A printer. Which they have one at the school, but I feel bad using it all the time and with using all the resources and everything. So it would definitely be a printer, because I don't have the best handwriting and I hate writing things out. But oh well.
All right.
Thanks.
Excellent.